You were born with individual strengths and a unique purpose. Don't let fears, false beliefs, or life's happenings diminish your influence. It's time to live and lead for impact. Host Kirsten Ross, expert of transformation, will help you defeat the drama and overcome the trauma that can stop you in your tracks. You'll gain focus, find confidence, and take bold action. Unleash passionate, purposeful you. Let's go.
Welcome to Live and Lead for Impact. I'm Kirsten Ross-Vogel, your host, and this is episode 249. You are in for a treat today. I have an amazing guest. I'm so looking forward to our conversation. She is upbeat and exciting, and I love what she's up to. So her name is Mo Barrett, and she's a self-diagnosed successful failure. Love that already. Currently charting a course for people who want to laugh, learn, and think in that order. And again, love that too. Welcome, Mo.
Thanks, Kirsten. It's so awesome to be in touch with you. And I've been listening to your podcast and enjoying it. So I'm so honored to be on 249.
Yeah. Well, welcome to 249. Yes. So again, I can't wait to learn more about what you do because I'm so
Me too.
up for, I was just talking to someone yesterday who is ill, quite ill. But she's laughing a lot. And so we just talked about the importance of that laughter because she's doing more amazing than any patient her doctor's ever had. And,
awesome.
But still not feeling well. But you know what? Finding the joy in the laughter. And she actually said that last week she went to the big celebration. She lives out in Oregon, and she went to this big celebration of the explosion of the whale or something like that. And
that does not sound healthy for the whale.
I guess it was. So yeah, I went, but it's like a tongue-in-cheek name, but they do a celebration every year. And it was, the 50-year anniversary of someone's really brilliant idea of, exploding a beached whale to try to clean up the mess. And it caused a lot of damage. But anyway, a weird way to start the topic, but let me stop talking. But anyway, she was just laughing and getting a huge, they had an awesome time. And that's what it's all about, like finding the laughter, I'm assuming is what you're going to talk about. So tell me about your work and what impact you're making in the world.
So right now I am a speaker and my joy is to connect with people and really specifically to connect with people who want to laugh, learn, and think in that order. So whether it's doing keynotes or workshops or moderating or emceeing, I think there's an opportunity to sneak some learning in there and to give people something to think about. But laughter has to come first because I think that just as your friend is discovering, and not so much for the whale, but I think that there's something disarming about when we laugh. And I think there's something that connects us when we find something to laugh about together. And as your friend is finding out, there's a healing property to it as well.
Absolutely. And humans are funny. And so I think it's so awesome to, share those illustrative stories that can help us connect, find humor, at ourselves. So what experiences have motivated you the most to make this unique impact?
So when I used to ask my dad and mom how they met, my dad, I would say, "Dad, how did you meet mom?" And he would launch into this beautiful story about the first time he set eyes on this wonderful, gorgeous, angelic cashier at a Sears tool department and how he just stumbled over himself and he stumbled over his words, and day in and day out, he would go back for like a week before he got the courage to ask this woman out. And it's like when he tells this story, there's a symphony behind him, and there's mood lighting, and it's just beautiful. Then when I asked my mom, I said, "Mom, how did you and Dad meet?" And she can hardly stay awake during her story. She's like yawning. She's like, "Yeah, this guy came by for like a week every day, then asked me out at the end of the week." And I thought, wow, that is the same exact event. And aside from the fact that I wonder how my parents even got together to make me, the fact that my dad could tell this beautiful story that I wanted to hear all the time over and over again. And every time he would tell it, it's like a fishtail. The symphony got bigger, the mood lighting got more dramatic, but I never asked to hear my mom's version again. But it's the same event. And we have this perspective, and how we tell about that event, I think that's where the power is. And that's what makes people come back and want to hear more. And I think it develops the storyteller as well. But if we're going to tell a story, and if we're going to make a point to illustrate, use a story to illustrate it, let's make it worth hearing. Let's not put ourselves to sleep, much less anybody who's got to listen to it. So that's when I realized the value of story, how important that is just way back then. Like, how did you and mom and dad meet?
I love it. I love it. And those are such fun stories to hear too. So, no more Tinder back then, right?
Yeah, right, right. Swipe left or right. I don't know. Yeah.
So when I hear, so you're speaking, and I'm assuming that involves storytelling. Are you also helping storytellers?
So right now I'm not helping storytellers. I'm just trying to get my own stories out there. So I just published a book called Pardon My Quirk, which is the anecdotes I use when I speak. There are anecdotes to make you laugh, learn, and think, again, in that order. So right now I'm not a storyteller coach, just trying to model good storytelling.
Awesome. Well, maybe that's in your future.
Oh,
That's what
maybe.
I'm hearing. So tell me, as you think back to some of the audiences or people that you've shared your stories with, what is an impact that you've made with one person, or maybe it's a group, that really fuels your passion?
Wow. So the very first time, it's a handful of years ago, the very first time I got to give a keynote, it was a military leadership conference, and I was the closing keynote for like a 3-day conference. And so all these serious speakers, professional development, and I get up there and I'd rehearsed, and I had slides, and I was trying to be funny, and I was trying to have a poignant point, and I was trying to give people something to think about. And I don't know if you're like this, but when you're up on stage and you're just making eye contact with people, and you're just in the moment. I don't remember what words I just said. I'm not really sure what words are coming up, but I'm just in that moment and seeing how my jokes land and making my points, doing those pauses. And I'm just so in the moment. And it's almost like I black out. I tell people it's almost like I black out. But then as soon as I get done talking, I wonder, was I even speaking English? Like, I'm not even sure what I said when I was up there. And then you're just thinking, did I deliver it in English? B, did I make a point? Was it a good one? And did it resonate? So I get done speaking and I'm like, okay, now the conference is over. I just want to go use the restroom and get some water. And there's this line of people. I'm trying to get through them. And then I realized the line of people are in line to talk to me. And one of the first people there is this Coast Guard officer, and she's got tears in her eyes and she's on the verge of crying. And she says, "Thank you for giving me permission to be me." And I thought, I don't know what I said up there, but that's not what I was up there to do. I was up there to make you laugh and learn and think. But somewhere in my stories and in the points that I gave her something to think about, she realized that she had been withholding part of what made her unique in contributing to the greater mission that she was in the Coast Guard. And I thought, that's why I want to do this. That's why I want to continue doing this. Because, and there was a couple of people that made that same, that told me that my points had resonated, but I will never forget looking up into her eyes, and she was just about to cry. And I just hugged her. I'm sure that's appropriate, but I hugged her. And because it meant so much to me to know that I had landed some points that made an impact on her. And I'm like, that's why we do this.
That's awesome. So exciting. I'm wondering too, because as you were talking, describing this event, maybe just even the fact that you are so different from all of the other speakers, it sounds like, and, heading up there, like the old closing the show. Right. Like that's a lot. And so probably it was just inspiring, for you getting up there and doing your thing. But I love that. How often do people feel like there's a part of them that's tucked away, or, I call it doing the lazy river way of doing life. Like they're not even making intentional choices. Other people and just circumstances and things landing in front of them is like guiding their whole path. And they've never like dug their arms down in the water and just, paddled themselves. So would you be willing to share one of your amazing stories? I know this is not part of what we planned, but I would love it. I would love it.
Well, I can read them or just tell you one. I can
tell me one. I don't want. Yeah. I know everyone can find them in your book, but the link will be in the show notes. But I would love to have you share one.
So, one of the one that just popped into my head was when I was 4. So I'm the last of 6 kids, and my parents are significantly apart in age. My parents were 20 years apart in age. So my 5 siblings were significantly older than me. But as the baby of 6, when I was 4 years old, and every summer my siblings would rotate who would take me to the pool. And so today I'm going to the pool with one of my older sisters and my older brothers, and this particular sister is always like spoiling me with gifts, and I just thought she must love me because she's giving me all these gifts. We get to the pool and she pulls the latest surprise out of her backpack, and it is this hideous purple, huge, child-eating, fang-bearing dragon. And it is just, it's like the color of dried blood. And I know it's probably killed several children my age. And it's supposed to be this swim ring. And she blows it up, and I'm just scared to death of it. She puts me in the swim ring, and then she pushes me into the middle of the pool. And my brother and sister stand on the side of the pool, and they just laugh at me, and they're pointing, and I'm screaming. I am so afraid, and no one's helping me. And like, I black out the rest of the pool experience, and we get back home, and I'm just thinking, what did I do to my sister to make her hate me so much, to put so much fear into what was otherwise a pleasurable experience to go to the pool? So fast forward a few decades, I won't say how many, I'm at my parents' house, and I'm going through some pictures and yearbooks and just helping clean the house. And I come across this picture, and it just brings back this flood of bad memories, because it's a picture of me in this cute little pink, dainty, inflatable swim ring dragon. And I've got my arms around it, and I love it. And clearly, I wasn't afraid of this thing that I had thought was so huge and child devouring. But because of a couple moments in the pool when I was afraid, I had to let it taint the whole experience of going to the pool, the whole relationship with my sister. And it affected everything. And it wasn't until I had that picture to show this cute little dainty dragon that I actually loved that I realized that I had cast these like negative emotions and attached them to this one moment in time when I was afraid, and it affected everything going forward. But holding the picture, I thought, how many times do we do that? Do we reflect on something in a moment when we're scared, and we let all those negative emotions flavor everything around it, all the other positive things, and it just overpowers it? And I'm like, thank God I had this picture to realize that I love this dragon. I even called him Dre Dre, apparently. And I had forgotten all of that. And I think a lot of times when I tell people we need to slay those dragons or deflate those dragons of things from our past that we have somehow let negatively color what is an otherwise positive event. So that's the purple dragon story is what I call that one.
I like that. I think about how assumptions, which that was, but of course
Sure.
you were so young, you probably weren't in a place at the time to ignite a clarifying conversation. But the illustration I think of is, wow, you had assumptions that kind of attached to that one story about your sister for years. I'd be curious, did you do any cleanup with her after you saw the picture?
Our relationship is much better now. I don't hold that against her, because I know now that she wasn't holding it against me. So, but I continue to get great, and I think forward on it. Like, if she said, if I went off the high dive, I would get a fun dip. I did go off the high dive. I did get a fun dip. So the relationship was better. But I just remember being so afraid of this thing. And then now I get the picture and I just laugh, and I'm like, what else in my life have I just misremembered, basically? And then, harbored those negative feelings towards somebody who was involved in that heinous misrepresentation.
Yeah, it's amazing how our memories, and not only do they kind of, send us on a path of thoughts going forward, but also, they can live in our bodies. And so I
Sure.
love I love that illustration in so many ways of it was a misremembrance
Mhm.
of an
Mhm.
event that stuck with you for so long. So thanks so much
Yeah.
for sharing that.
Of course.
So as you're launching, releasing your book and launching into more speaking opportunities, what is the biggest internal or external challenge that you've had to overcome, and how did you overcome it?
So when I was in high school, I made the decision that I was going to apply to the Air Force Academy. So I did what every high school student's supposed to do. I went to my guidance counselor, and I told my guidance counselor my plans. My guidance counselor, cleverly disguised as the head football coach, laughed at me. And he basically said, he goes, Michelle, you're not smart enough. Your grades aren't good enough. Your standardized test scores aren't high enough. You're never going to get into the Air Force Academy. And I thought, man, here's like this responsible adult, so I thought, who's supposed to be guiding me, and then gives me that negative, that just all this negativity, and not all the ways I could do something, but all the ways that I wasn't going to be able to do it. And I kind of was dejected, and I just thought, I really want this though, and I thought, I still can do this. And I'm just that conflicting, like self-doubt and responsible adult tell me. And then I went home and my sister made this real casual comment. And she said, if they had allowed women at the military academies when I was applying to colleges, I would have done anything to apply. And I thought, yeah, that's what I'm going to do. And I think that self-doubt, and there's a lot of points that I get from this story is that self-doubt is my biggest challenge right now. Like thinking, oh, who wants to hear my story, or why me, or why should I get up and tell my stories? Because I've had nothing traumatic or tragic in my life. But it also tells me that the words that we use have an impact on people. So the words my guidance counselor said negatively impact me. My sister was making just a casual, offhanded comment. I mean, I'm lucky I even heard it, but that's the one that changed the trajectory and said, you know what? This is something I want to do. This is something I can do, and I'm going to do it. No, it took me 2 years to get in, but I think it's powerful that we take caution about the words of others that we put in our heads and the words that we listen to. I think we have enough naysayers, and sometimes I'm my own worst naysayer, but finding that tribe of counsel that can help you see what you can do, because sometimes we're so close to our goals. Sometimes I feel like I'm just about ready to give up. I'm like, I don't have it. And then you find somebody who says, you know what, you can do this, and just stick by it. So self-doubt is the short answer. Self-doubt is my biggest challenge to living and leading with impact. But then again, finding those people who believe in you and can cheer you on and kind of pull you out of that rut when you're in it. That's the biggest thing I would say.
Oh, so many great illustrations in that story. And I'm gonna share a similar story actually, but
Good.
I want to talk about trusted advisor status, because that's the thing, because trusted advisor status in our lives should never be dependent on the role or the title that someone has, because they might have intentions or objectives that are not aligned. And particularly if you are working to live and lead for impact, because so many people, one, either don't understand this life, like what in the heck is an entrepreneur? What are you doing? Go get a job, those kinds of things. They don't understand it. Or, and I've seen this very clearly too, they have their own fears, their own sense of why haven't I done something similar? And so they need you to fail so that they can feel okay. And you need to make sure that people that have those kinds of objectives are not speaking into your life. And it can be hard. Yes. And we can be our own worst critics. But on top of it, if we're being loosey-goosey with who we're allowing into our heads. And I want to share, as you were sharing that story, I was taking it was high school as well. And I was taking a vocabulary building class. I think it was my senior year. I figured it was junior or senior year. But she hated my guts. And I was a good student. Like top of my class, all that kind of stuff. But she just hated my guts. And so she started making all kinds of comments in front of the class. So like one time I forgot my book, and she said, oh, well, next time, why don't you just send your book and not even show? It won't make a difference anyway. I needed to miss the class to go take a, what are those called? Where you're trying to test out of science in college, those AP. So I had to miss her class, and she said, you're taking an advanced placement. Why would you take an advanced placement? You'll never. Yeah. Horrendous. And literally everyone that was in the class, my friends, they were like, I'm going to get there early because I want to see what she's going to say to Kirsten next. Yeah. It was almost daily. Yeah. So but thank God I didn't let her in. Cause I just thought I still am like just shocked that a high school teacher, but we had to write, and I got an A in the class, by the way.
Nice.
But and I was getting an A while she hated my guts too. That was what was funny. But anyway, for the final, we had to write a paragraph using a bunch of words that we had learned during the class. And again, it's vocabulary building. So there were these, I remember erudite was one of them. But anyway, the whole content of my paragraph was about the role and responsibility of educators. Nice. And that was my little parting gift. Nice. But anyway, I thought about that. But and thank God I had friends around me who could laugh, because otherwise I might have cried, because, but her role didn't give her the right to have her words like eke into my brain. No way. So,
Yeah.
so
Well,
yes, be
it's good that
careful.
you were able to discern that difference, because I think some people who are in the lazy river of life might have let her, impact and get in there and get in your head. So it's good that you were strong enough to paddle your own raft.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and I don't know how I did it at that young age, but so the lesson is, don't let someone just, even if it's a boss, even if it's, sometimes
Right.
it's a parent who doesn't have the
Yep.
right intentions, really. So pick
Yeah.
your trusted advisors well. Now, is your sister still a trusted advisor, would you say?
She's
It
not,
sounds like
I
she's
mean,
done good, giving you some
she's
motivation
still
over
in my
time.
life. Yeah. I've got a pretty good panel of a wide array of trusted advisors. So that's good.
Good. Yeah, you need them for sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Right.
so tell me, how do you stay motivated and moving during tough times? And I ask this because it can be so inspirational. Anyone who's working to live this life, is running up against some challenges.
Yeah. I think a lot of times I talk about, like kind of the purple dragon, just taking a step back and reflecting. One thing my partner and I do is we have a mason jar on our mantle. We don't have a mantle right now, but we have it on the kitchen counter. And what we do is whenever there's something funny or stupid or just something that makes us kind of giggle or laugh or just whatever, we put it on a Post-it note, fold it up, put it in the jar. And then on New Year's Eve, we go through and read the notes. Like I'm talking asinine things. Like my favorite is when there was an incident in the Safeway wine aisle, and it happened, and then we put it in the jar. And then on New Year's Eve that year, we opened it up and said, "I farted in the wine aisle at Safeway." So, but it's those little things that happen every day that are mundane things that make you laugh. Like capture those. And I think you were talking. I think it was with Rona Lewis. And you were talking about how kids laugh 300 times a day and adults are laughing 7 times a day. Like we need to take advantage of those things and find the magic in the mundane and just capture them, just write them down. However you capture things, it doesn't have to be every day. I'm not a great gratitude journaler. So like I know I'm grateful for 3 things every day, but I'm not great about committing it to paper or keyboard. But find the magic in the mundane. And if it makes you laugh, then just hang on to that and then write it down and find some way to retrieve it later when you maybe don't have to wait till New Year's Eve, but just find a way to capture it so that you can kind of reflect on that. Because those things that make us laugh, we have an opportunity to laugh again. We just kind of forget about them and we go all adulting and forget to do those things. But just
I
capture
love
the
that.
magic in the mundane. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, and don't take yourself too seriously. Like, yes, be
Absolutely.
goal oriented. Yes. But again, as I was saying, humans are funny. And, anyone who coaches with me needs to be ready for laughter because even though we are sometimes covering tough topics and, things that just feel so daunting, like challenges, but I mean, our response to things, the stories we tell ourselves, so often really are funny.
Yeah.
I mean, and yes, those mundane, silly things that happen day to day, if your number one thought is, oh no, what are people going to think of me versus, oh my God, this is freaking hilarious. Have a goal, man. I love when I laugh till I cry and my stomach is hurting. Like that's amazing. And I do it all the time. My husband even says no, she's going to the bad place. And it's
Well, don't you have, like I have this one, it's a 10-minute blooper reel and it's news anchors. I can be in the worst mood or just down on everything. And if I can get myself to hit play on this YouTube link, I don't know what it is. I am laughing till I'm crying. And it's just not to laugh at other people's misfortune, but they're taking it lightly too. But, just blooper reels. I have this go-to blooper reel. And a lot of times I tell people, find your blooper reel, find the thing that makes you laugh without fail. I can be sad. I can be depressed. I can be anything. And I will watch this and I will be laughing by the end. And again, it's kind of like laughter yoga. Your body doesn't know the difference sometimes between real and forced laughter, but I hit my blooper reel and I tell people, find your blooper reel. My reel that just makes me laugh every time. I don't, and what makes people laugh is different for everybody, but something about these news anchors and their laughter just cracks me up every time.
Oh, that sounds like a good one. Or how about autocorrect? Oh my gosh.
Yes.
Or laugh till I cry every time. Yeah. And even if I've read it before, it doesn't matter. Yeah. I mean, they are so funny. You might have to send me that link for the blooper reel.
Yes, ma'am, I will.
I know the top one from years ago, and I know everyone's seen it, was the guy, I think he's in the UK or somewhere, and he's got the big world map behind him, and he's on some like international news story trying to be very buttoned up and everything. And his daughter comes wheeling in her little, and it if it had been choreographed, it couldn't have been more perfect.
And then his wife
comes in. Yes.
crawling, trying to slide them out. It's like, oh, it's just own it, man. Just own it. Like, this is life.
Yes. Another one, I know we're getting a little off topic though, but so my husband's so into disc golfing and so is my brother, and they were here and they were watching and being all serious, and it is really cool, and it's an international thing. It's going crazy right now, and actually the biggest tournament in the world happens right by our house, which is cool. But anyway, they were the guys that were interviewing and talking and like being the announcers were out in the woods. And so I started finding that funny, and then I'm already crying because it just looked ridiculous because, they're in shorts and like just regular shirts, but with trees behind them. And then they're trying to be all serious with these microphones. And then the camera panned away, and they were both of their microphones were attached to a box that it was in the one guy's pocket. And I lost it because they were tethered and they were doing a turn, and the guy had to from the other side, had to flip around. And I mean, laugh till I cried. That was like great humor all summer for months. My brother would be like, tell that story again. Couldn't even make it true. See, I'm getting better now. I can at least talk about it. I got a lot of mileage out of that one.
Oh, that's fantastic.
So, tell me, what words of wisdom do you have to share for others who are working to make their impact in the world?
You kind of already said it too. Don't take life too seriously. But I'm going to tell you one more story that I use for myself. I was walking toward a mailroom, and walking toward me away from the mailroom was this mom, in a very busy pace, and a little human behind her. And I assumed the human belonged to her because the little human was saying, "Mommy, let me, wait up." Mom's like over her shoulder, "Come on, we got to go. And the little girl's like, "Mom, I just want to hold your hand." And I felt bad for the girl. Now, I don't have any two-legged kids. I have all four-legged animals. So I don't know what it's like to be a mom. I don't know what it's like to be that busy that I can't hold my daughter's hand. So I turned around and reversed course, and I grabbed the little girl's hand and I said, "I'll hold your hand, because someday your mom is going to be begging you to hold her hand." And the little girl puffed up, and we just kind of walked right past the mom, and the mom heard me. And then all at once I saw her body go through frustration, alarm at the stranger danger element of things, and then resignation, and kind of this, not that I was right, but that there was an opportunity right there in that moment that she was letting go. She grabbed her daughter's hands, they slowed their pace, I let go, and the two of them walked off. And I realized that I don't need to have been a mother or a parent to help that parent find the magic in that moment. And so I think that a lot of times we think, oh, nothing traumatic has happened to me, nothing tragic has happened to me, so I don't have a story to tell, I don't have a perspective to share. But we do. And I think I had a great childhood. My setbacks are nothing in comparison to what other people have dealt with. I know you've had dealing with your son and some of the things that you've written your books about. And so I know you've had challenges. I've got nothing like that, but I still have a perspective to share. And I always think about just turning around and grabbing that little girl's hand, probably against my better judgment, but grabbing that little girl's hand and letting her know that her mom had an opportunity. And her mom realized too that she has an opportunity to be better in that moment. And so we don't have to have lived this grandiose existence to share our perspective, because everybody's got a story to tell. Everybody's got a unique perspective, and we need to share it. And above all, we need to laugh. So finding the magic in the mundane, laughing, learning, and thinking, and just connecting with people. That's what we need right now. I think there's too much division. And if we can connect and find what makes us the same, we're going to discover a lot of overlaps.
Oh, yes. I love that. Yeah, you don't have to have had major obstacles or challenges or anything. I mean, really, it is in our storytelling, we're connecting, and we're connecting with where people can relate to what you're talking about. And then when you add that inspiration or that thought-provoking, whatever it is, to the story, now you've connected and had them thinking. And so it doesn't require the big challenges and overcoming humongous things. And also, you might not see some big, huge impact in the moment, so that wasn't huge, but you never know the ripple effect that you grabbing that hand, and maybe that mom is still thinking about that day and is slowed down and is more present, ongoing, more often. And then maybe
not going to the cops for,
Yeah. We're not advocating grabbing children's hands.
No, not at all.
But I love that you took the opportunity, and it was the message. and the intentions behind it.
Right.
And I love your message too about, let's overcome this division. We are so alike. Regardless of what we might hear or what it might feel like in the world, there's so much for us that is where we have similar goals, similar intentions, similar wants, needs, and desires for ourselves and our families. And so if we could focus there, we really still are very much alike.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much.
Saith Maslow. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. So tell me, what kinds of people are you looking to connect with and support? What kinds of speaking opportunities? Let's get some people connecting with you.
Yeah, honestly, I really, the people that don't take themselves too seriously and realize that there is a teaching opportunity and a learning opportunity within the laughing and learning and thinking. And so I love moderating panels. I love the improv nature of life. And that's one thing I love about the live stage is that as we come out of this Zoom world we've been living in, but just anybody who needs like a moderator or, just needs a dynamic keynoter and just somebody that can lighten the mood, but still deliver the teaching opportunities and the landing points. I love to personalize things. Again, emceeing, moderating, or keynoting. I love doing that stuff. I love connecting with people, and I love connecting with people who don't think like me. So I again love finding that similarity in where we can work together and connect.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. So if you are someone who is resonating with what Mo is talking about, absolutely reach out to her. So, and all these links will be on today's show notes, but we have, you can find her at mobarrett.com. That's MOBARRETT.com, or on her LinkedIn, which is, you guessed it, MOBARRETT, or Facebook, Laugh, Learn, Think. And again, all those links will be available to you. And I want to throw out there that I've got some gifts, multiple opportunities, some freebies that I would love to share with you. And you can find those by going to myimpactacademy.com/gifts. So I love to over deliver, but you'll find all kinds of little quizzes and tools and things to kind of evaluate your own relationship, bust through fears. So please take advantage of that. I would love to support you in that way. So again, that's myimpactacademy.com/gifts. And Mo, thanks again so much. And I look forward to connecting further.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Kirsten. I really enjoyed it. And I will get that blooper reel in the email to you.
Awesome. And by the way, today's show notes, you can find them by going to defeatthedrama.com, click on the podcast tab, and go to episode 249. And in the meantime, get out there, make your impact, be it small or big. You'll never know the ripple effect that you're creating. So thanks for listening. Take care.